Why is Black Panther so important to Black culture? Is the Oscars still so white? And are Monique's rants crazy, or do they have some truth to them? I'm Cara Burnett, and this is Stony, Brook, Black. Hi, welcome to our first episode of Stony, Brook, Black. I'm Cara Burnett. I'm joined with my two guests here, Kayla Rivers and Randy Ferguson. Thank you guys for coming out tonight.
Ain't no thing.
All right, so we're just going to jump right into it. I'm super excited to talk about this movie because it was just crazy. It's really, really good. Black Panther. So let's just dive into it. Why was this movie, I guess, so important for Black culture? And just why has it been so groundbreaking?
Do you want to go first?
You go. You the queen.
Oh, thank you. I believe it was important for Black culture because this is the first time we're seeing a mega blockbuster coming from a usually predominantly white heroine movie company, and it was marketed in a way that it was like, we need everyone to come see this. Like, this is what you're anticipating for, and it's the one time that we're having a mega blockbuster and we're not depicted as slaves or depicted as thugs, or it's not a biopic about somebody dying. And it gives you a sense of pride to know, like, okay, this is what Black people can look like when we're not slaves, when we're not struggling, and we look amazing and we look beautiful.
It's beautiful, but it was just the sense of the culture coming together. You had everybody who's like 5 years old, or it's like 90, 95 years old, just celebrating this film. And I never seen anything like that in my lifetime, where everybody who's Black coming out in dashikis and all African clothing just to go and see this movie. And that was a beautiful thing that I've seen all over social media, all over people that I even talk to. It's just the love and the admiration and the excitement of a movie that not only is it for entertainment purposes only, but it brought a message towards it. And yes, there are some people that took that message whole another 10 yards that doesn't need to be going down there, but at the end of the day, it's just entertainment with a message that was brought upon it, and it got us talking, and it did its job from jump.
And I think what stands out, for me, is that just for our younger generation and the kids that are watching this, I don't know about for you guys, just growing up and not seeing people who look like you when you're going to the movie theaters and just going on screen. But I'd love to see the kids seeing oh wow, this is a superhero. It's just not like Superman or Iron Man. This is someone who looks like me, which I think is just really cool.
And it's the one time that someone looks like you and they're not a side character.
Amen.
All of them are the main characters. They are essential to the plot. They don't get killed off in the first 15 minutes.
True.
And they're not trying to attain a status of whiteness. So I think that's very important. But I will say, I grew up being introduced to Black film and Black cinema, so it's a very big part of my upbringing. From my mom started me taking to the movies at 8, and we would see 5 movies a day, and then I would go home and watch Spike Lee and Robert Townsend. So it's not that this is new for me, but it is reassuring, especially with the current political climate, the current reawakening of people, especially Black people, finding beauty in their culture and realizing that we did not start in shackles and we're not going to end in shackles. And I think that's very important, is we're constantly always looking at the past as Black people, but we need to start focusing on our future. And Black Panther is a way to think about a future.
Yeah.
It's the one time that we're seeing Black people in a futuristic realm, and it's positive.
Okay, so we have the Oscars coming up this weekend on Sunday. Now, 2 years ago, the phrase "Oscars so white" caught fire. And now 2 years later, where are we? We talked earlier about Black Panther and what that meant for just our culture, but is the industry really changing? Where are we with that?
Listen to me.
You can answer first. I've been talking a lot.
It hasn't gone nowhere. We're still in the same spot. Last year was just a fluke. It just gave us the hey, here's your token award, as you were saying, we was talking earlier. Yeah. Here's your token award for Moonlight. All right, don't bother for 10 years.
Yeah, like,
Stop the protest and whatever. But now it's like, if you look at the best picture features, like, you just gotta get out. That's it. And it's to a fact that now it's like, okay, the Academy has to notice that now black films, or just people of color films, are selling. Women in films are selling. Look at Wonder Woman. Sold a lot of money. They're well in the box office. So people of color and women movies, stories are important than just a generic war movie of Dunkirk. You know what I'm saying? So it hasn't progressed anywhere. And there still needs to be more work that needs to be done. There needs to be more reputation. I don't care if the Academy president is a black woman. There's still a lot of white men sitting on that table making the declarations of what awards needs to be picked and won.
A lot of things that black people have been receiving recently, even though I appreciate all our accomplishments, when I feel like things are giving to us, it's like hush money. It's a lot of like, okay, you want something, so let's stop talking about this. Oh, you don't feel like there's enough representation. Well, look, all these black films did great, so let's be quiet.
Yeah.
Well, they doubted Girls Trip. They doubted
did.
these movies. They doubted the numbers. And it showed. First of all, I don't know why they doubt the numbers when research has shown that black people have the best spending dollar ever. So why not give them something that they're going to spend their money on?
Yeah.
But they show that black people are willing to spend their money on stuff even if it's not about them. And I think that's why they continue to just kind of be like, well, you got one movie, so be quiet. I think I have hopes that it will change, but I feel like the root of the issue is deep embedded in a lot of the minds of people, and it's deep embedded in the systematics of this country. So we may never reach there, but I know we'll get pretty damn close.
All right, so Oscar-winning actress and comedian Monique has been in the news lately. She is slamming and boycotting Netflix. What is going on, guys? What's your take on it?
You want to take this?
Yeah. It's a little messy. And I will say, I understand Monique's strife, but I believe there's a more effective way she could go on about it. Because if you have been paying attention, she's doing like an interview, TV tour kind of thing, and going on radio shows, and she's talking about why she's asking people to boycott Netflix, but she's getting caught up in a lot of, I don't want to say emotions, because that's usually used to diminish a black woman's argument, but you can see that she is emotional about this, and she should be, but she's not arguing with white America the way she needs to. She's arguing very, like, in the house, like, I don't want to air out all the business of the industry, but you know that I know what you know, and you know what's happening is wrong to me. And I feel like we live in a society of, like, where's the Carfax? Like, state names, state instances, dates, timestamps. We need the receipts. And I feel like that's not fair, because Monique is really trying to save face of other people. Like, you know, she calls out Oprah and a couple of other things, but she not coming with the hard facts, and the people who asking her the crazy questions not coming with the hard facts. Because, like, Angela Yee brought up something, and she was like, well, if you ain't gonna name names, then keep it on the playground. But, like, Monique, you not coming with, you know, concrete arguments. So, like, there needs to be some type of focal point, and her husband need to sit down and convene so that when they come out, they are united front, because she'll say something, and then he'll discredit her. And it's like, well, y'all arguing a point, but both of y'all got two different sides of the story. It's like when in a court case, you want to make sure that what you said the first time is what you said the second time.
Yeah. When I heard about this whole situation, I thought it more as a business perspective. And I was listening to the Breakfast Club that day when Donkey of the Day came, when Charlamagne talked about Monique. But I digress. Going back to my point, I looked at it more as in a business perspective. And the fact that she's not relevant in today's time of 2017 going to 2018, that she hasn't made that much noise. Yes, the Parkers are still on syndication. Yes, you can find Precious on your legal fire stick. Yeah, you can watch that. Go right ahead. Cool. But to the fact that if you're not touring to the fact that if I see it online and I told Kayla, hey, Kayla, you want to go see Monique? You know, she's kind of touring in New York. Let's go. You know, if she's not doing that, if she's not doing what Dave Chappelle or Chris Rock was doing, which was touring and doing stand-ups before they even talked to Netflix. Even Netflix came to them. They were doing their thing.
But I was like, Netflix came and saw her do 2 shows.
Right. I agree.
And she got a standing ovation.
Right.
I feel like, yes, she hasn't been that relevant, but we know she hasn't been that relevant because she was blackballed. Like, everyone's like,
that is true.
Everyone's hitting her with this, well, you haven't been relevant. Well, she did that Christmas movie.
Yeah,
she's done
Christmas.
movies despite being blackballed, despite not being able, because she hasn't been able to do any blockbusters since Precious because she was blackballed by black people in power. So she's only going to get cast for certain things. Yeah. So I felt like Netflix was rude in a sense into like hit her with that, well, you haven't been doing anything, and like, yeah, we worried about dollars, but like, you viewed her, you saw how much money she made off of the Christmas movie, and despite facing adversity in the industry, she's still continuing to try to grind. So why not just pay her worth?
I mean, there was definitely a big gap. They offered Amy Schumer, I think, $13 million, and she was offered $500,000. So there definitely is a big gap. And I think from Netflix, their perspective is that they were trying to say, or at least what she discussed in the interview, they were talking about pull. And they're like, Amy Schumer sold out her stadium twice. Yeah. And she was like, well, look at my resume. So I guess they were like, well, is the pull the same? Because we're just trying to get our money back.
At the end of the day, she is a legend. Let's get that straight. She is a legend. She did wonderful things that, you know, I'm very proud of saying that. I watched it and I seen what she did. But to the fact that, yeah, you see the resume is cool, but Netflix does stuff based on the numbers. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Yes, she got a selling innovation. That's cool. You know, but what the mainstream audience would sit down and watch an hour-long Monique stand-up. So the last time people really seen her doing stand-up was Queens of Comedy back in 2002, 2003, I believe.
And that's understandable, but I feel like sometimes you have to take a chance, and I don't feel like Netflix was willing to take a chance on her, where they took a chance with Amy Schumer. Despite her selling out stadiums, who said that was going to transcribe well? I mean, yes, Amy Schumer did have her TV show and her little skits and whatever, but who says that was going to transcribe to the Netflix audience? True. Just like, yes, Dave Chappelle was touring. Well, we can't even talk about Dave Chappelle. He's a whole nother realm. So I'm just gonna leave him where he's at. I'm not even gonna bring him up. Sorry, Dave Chappelle. But you know what I'm saying? Like, just, I feel like the situation could have been handled differently. I feel like she could be handling the situation differently. I feel like other black women in the industry could be handling the situation differently. And it's a lot of the narrative of she's emotional. Her thought is not coherent, so we're gonna dismiss her.
You think they're trying to lure to play that stereotype as a stereotype black woman? You think that's what they're trying to?
Of course, because everyone's just writing her off. Mm-hmm. Every time she tries to bring up that she felt like she's been, literally, this woman is crying. I feel like I'm being ostracized. Mm-hmm. I feel like my worth is not being valued, and I've been killing myself to make it in this industry, and my resume shows for that, and y'all are telling me to shut up. That's what's happening.
That's true.
And I feel like everyone's getting caught up there looking at it from a business aspect. Well, she's not going to make any money. But how do you know that?
Because this is not the first time this has happened with her. You know, there's multiple instances. But, like, where is her backup? Like, why?
Well, who's coming to her defense? Yeah. Everyone is like, well, you should have called me, and I would have told you how to handle it. But
Wanda Sykes said something.
But not even, like, you knew what was going on. You didn't come to defend me. You told me I should have called you and handled the situation different. But where were you to have my back if you consider us family? Like, when she was talking to Whoopi was like, oh, you should have called me.
Yeah, I would have gave you a heads up.
I would have gave you. But why didn't you have my back when your friend Oprah was saying A, B, and C? Mm-hmm. Why didn't you have my back when Lee Daniels and Tyler Perry were doing A, B, and C? You did it. Nobody said anything. Everyone just kept letting her get blackballed and letting her get in these D-rate movies.
Well, that's all the time that we have for this week. My name is Cara Burnett, and you're watching Stony Brook Black.